Welcome to the audio excerpts of special seminars and conversations with Nolan Narula on gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
How will you recognize which is the good guidance, the right guidance, and which is the dark one? And there are some sprinkles of gold. How do you know that's not fool's gold? Hmm? One at a time, please. What is that? The one which is harder to do.
Also the one that will decrease the healing.
How will you assess it?
Something that you don't want to do.
But for a lot of you, don't want to do is normal. No? Everything you don't want to do. So how will you judge? Which is the better don't want to do? Yes, Shafali.
The one that keeps you connected to the healing.
How do you know?
Because if suppose there are two options available to me and I take one option and as a result of walking down that path I find I'm distancing myself from the healing.
That's no criteria. That's not a criteria because the healing you will send to everything. So then it's not a criteria. In other cases also you may be giving up the healing on the path which is bad for you or good for you. It could be equally good for you and you don't want to go there. So you don't do the healing. So that's not the criteria. Yes?
Shift from your present position.
That you will in any case. That's not a criteria. Yes?
Listen to your conscience.
Your conscience is always changing, giving you different feedback all the time. So how will you fix it? How do you know that's correct guidance? How will you know? कैसे पता चलेगा? Yeah.
Something which is shortcut and will give you immediate gains. Maybe it's not the right way to do.
But when you are a healer, there are a lot of shortcuts open up for you then. It could be that it is the right thing. Things are happening too good to be true, possibly. It might be healing, it might be Maya. Which one is it? How will you judge?
So we send healing and then whatever.
ऐसा है ना? Somebody wants to have a drink. He will send healing to the drink. And then he will do cheers. Now, how do you know that's good or bad? Where is the leaf? Is he here today? There you are. So, he is regularly sending healing. It's not stopping him. Anna? What healing you should send is that one has the effect of 3. then slowly it will reduce. You'll save money also, get a bigger bang for the buck, so to speak. Yes.
The more difficult option.
How do you assess which is more difficult? Yes, that is the beginning, but otherwise, yes, Rachel.
It's usually more the subtler answer that comes back.
Hmm.
The louder one or the louder message that comes back is usually the mind or
Yes.
ego, and this is a much quieter, much subtler that's
Yes.
more difficult to hear.
Yeah. Yes. The quick solution is usually not always the right one. I would say usually not the right. Yes, Kia?
The one that makes you more uncomfortable. It takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yes. That is a good starting point, that it goes out of your comfort zone. Then, how do you assess whether it is your own mind? You see, because if you look back into your life, let's say in the last 1 year, have there been instances where you have decided to do something which you thought was guided by healing? And what was the result you got after that, or something that you felt you didn't get the right result, or it wasn't the result you wanted, or you changed your mind? Did any of that happen? So if you think back, then can you just see what was such a condition, for example? What was that? Would anybody like to share? That in a case where you thought you were on the right track and you felt it was right, but the result didn't come the way it was expected, or it actually created some problem for you. Did anybody have such an experience? You see, in any relationship, what is happening is that if there is an overwhelming reduction of karmic debts, then the relation finishes. So, this is why we always say that if you want to maintain a relationship, it has to be a relationship of mutual benefits. So, you also have to do something in order to create an ongoing situation of indebtedness in terms of receiving and giving. So, where it becomes one sided, and we have actually told you this many times, but you have not followed that instruction. That we have told you that where it becomes one sided, you will run out of the account, you'll finish it off. So, you yourself are very ambivalent about that, whether you want it to end or not end, and you were saying that you were not willing to reciprocate in any way. So, then this is going to be the natural consequence. And we had discussed that, were you ready for this step also? And you said, fine. So, you are actually going in the direction that you wanted to go. But it may not have come, it may have been theoretical at that time. But now it's a practical reality, so there is some difference. So, this is the point, we send healing. We also say that when you send healing for something, make jolly sure that you are going to stick with the result, because you may get what you ask for, but you may not like it. So that is entirely a different matter. So, there's no point saying, that is now it is not so nice, because what does one expect ultimately? When there is not a mutual relationship of benefit, it has to end. I mean, everybody knows that. We have been telling you that it will end. So it must sort of fizzle out in a way. So move along from there, whatever.
So, the relationship with the master is also karma bound, and then we also.
There is some, of course, there is all karma only, but you must understand that the spiritual master is not different because he appears in different bodies. The post of spiritual master is one. But like if you have many little vessels with water exposed to the sunlight, you'll find each one has a little sun in it. But the sun is one. So it is considered that all spiritual masters are actually one. There is no difference because they appear in different body. But according to your karma, you will get to that particular point which is perfectly right for you to progress in that direction, provided you've come out of the filter of the cheating, false, ego driven search for a spiritual master. Because you will get the spiritual master according to your desire and as according to your karma and as according to what you want out of life and what you are going to get out of life. There is, no difference between a spiritual master in some particular system of self-development and another, except the teaching and the way it comes according to time, place, and circumstance. So, those who reach the highest level of, so-called highest level of teaching or connection with the spiritual master, obviously their karma has prepared them. But there are very many who will not get past that final filter, or at some point they will drop out because of offense. So, yes, it is a very good fortune if you get connected to Reiki, the KQ force, because this is something which is not easily available. To that extent, anywhere, Reiki is certainly available from qualified and bona fide spiritual masters. KQ force is not available except the way that we are connecting and through people we authorize. And the point of being connected to Reiki or the KQ force is that without any so-called religious connotations, without any dogma, without any institutionalization or deification or godifying anything, you can get on with the job of healing your karma. So it's like the machine language of healing. It's like you have a computer and you access it in English, somebody accesses it in Hindi or French, but the computer doesn't understand either Hindi or English or French. It is all compiled and changed into a common language called a machine language, which the computer understands. Right? So Reiki and the KQ force are the machine language. They are the closest to where you can actually go and fix your karma without all the other poetry that surrounds it. You understand? So the religious systems have a lot of poetry, they have a lot of history, they have a lot of emotion, they have a lot of feeling. Here, there is that background is very much subdued and not made into a big thing. The reason is that all these religious spiritual systems are supposed to have this empowerment, which they don't. They have lost it. That is the problem. This is the lost touchstone that will transform the material into the spiritual completely. This is that, what do you call that? Paraswani. You know. So that element is missing in the Atharva Ved. There are two shloks that speak specifically about this empowerment, which we have revealed in our Joy of Reiki. And that empowerment is supposed to be there with all religious systems, but they have lost it. So, therefore, it doesn't have the force to take you entirely to the heart level directly without going through a whole process of self-developmental system which involves following a lot of complicated rules and regulations. Certainly a lot of austerity, a lot of renunciation is required. All those things. In our system, what we are doing with Reiki and the KQ force, that will come naturally. And then with a little effort from your side, you can get to that point of renunciation and austerity from things that help you to move forward in life. So actually, as on date today, the KQ Force Reiki empowerments are the most superior spiritual empowerments available anywhere on the planet. This is the reason. Nothing is equal or superior to it. Others are there, granted. They are helping people along according to their karma. So to get back to that point, people will find according to their karma. And they will develop and they will develop and then they will go to the next step, then the next step. It may take many lifetimes. In one life, somebody may be Brahmin. There's no guarantee in his next life he's going to be Brahmin. There's no guarantee that in his last life he was not an animal. You understand? So all those designations are temporary. So what is happening here is that we are removing all the designated aspects of an individual's journey in time and space and in different bodies and lifetimes and coming to the core essence. And that core essence is the divine flow of energy that is connecting you and keeping you in this body, in this condition, and allowing you to transfer from body to body even in this lifetime as your bodily cells change and age and new ones are coming up, the old ones are being destroyed. So that element is moving through many changing bodies even in this lifetime, and that force is ultimately going to remove this changing body business. Not entirely, but partially, in the sense that your changing body is happening according to the deterioration state of matter and the reconfiguration that is created by that catalytic element, the soul or the Atma and the super soul and the Paramatma aspect, the Reiki flow of energy. But when you go to the spiritual, the body will also change, but not like this. If you are associating with the divine and the divine wants you to associate as his friend, then you will take on the body of his friend. Tomorrow, he wants you to be some grass, your body will become grass. But the nature of your body, whether you're grass or a fruit that the divine is tasting or the bumblebee that is buzzing around him, the nature is purely spiritual. The body, soul, consciousness, everything is spiritual only. And the one pointed focus is connection with the divine. So, this is the practice in this lifetime. As much healing as you do, that is the one pointed focus of connecting with the divine, and gradually it will carry you to that. So the Reiki and the KQ force are the most unique energies in a most hidden way. So when you have people who are, you know, saying we did Reiki with this one, we did Reiki with that one, and didn't help us, it's because they don't understand what they have got, basically. So basically, you're still in the beggar position, not really understanding. ये भी मिल गया, वो भी मिल गया, कोर्स कर लिया जी, कोर्स कर लिया, ये भी कर लिया, वो भी कर लिया, विपासना भी कर लिया, बंजी जंपिंग भी कर लिया, हाँ, तो सारे चक्र फट गए, हाँ, और बड़ा बड़ा बज फील हो रहा है, बड़ा स्पेसी फीलिंग हो गया, बड़ा मजा आ रही है, हाँ? So people will continue to bounce off and move around in a semi-intoxicated state with intoxicated consciousness. But ultimately, you have no idea even now, perhaps, of what you are capable of achieving. But this is the path that you can get to. This is actually the reality of KQ and Reiki healing. It can take you to the next zone instantly. All you need to do is to focus on bathing your mind in that energy day in and day out, 24 hours a day, or as much as you can. That consciousness. So then there is no space for any other aberrations. That doesn't happen. So this is the defining key as to whether it's right or wrong. Ultimately, the result is irrelevant. Because all things will come to you in your life as an excuse only to send healing. The point is only of channeling the healing, ultimately. And healing cannot be channeled without an object. It is like your senses. Your senses flow naturally to the object. It's your eyes, the sense of vision. It flows to some beautiful form. The more beautiful, the better. क्या चीज है? Wow, like that, isn't it? And when you hear, it's oh, that's a very harsh, discordant sound, and that one, oh, very nice, very soothing, very elevating, very this, very that, depending on what your mood is, very exciting, whatever it might be. And touch also. Wow, what a lovely touch. Everyone wants nice touch like this. Money, money, money is also there. Touch, 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 touch. And then other touches there. All kinds of touching. Touchy-feely. Right? So all that is there. Huggy, kissy, touchy-feely. All that is going on. Isn't it? वो बड़ा नास्टी अंकल है दूर रहो उससे वो जरा हगी ज़्यादा ही करता है So your senses are automatically drawn, even though the uncle may be on his deathbed, he still has little bit of senses are naturally flowing. So when you are immersing your senses in that flow of healing energy, they will flow to its natural source also, to its origin, where they are coming from. So it is a natural process, there's nothing to be thought of, but this is knowledge, that how it is working and where it is going. So when you are inundating your senses, then with this energy, they also change their nature. So in everything, you will actually connect with the divine or with the source of this energy, and that is what is going to take you to the next zone. And that's going to happen naturally. So you will see beauty in everything. You will, find something nice and good in whatever is happening. And if you ask for a particular thing or you're wanting to achieve a certain independence in any way, a detachment, so all those things will come. So the point is not so much as how do you know this is the right thing for you. The point is that am I channeling healing to whatever it may be, nonsense or sense? Because I don't know. I have no gyan. I could be sending healing to the wrong thing, but at least I'm sending healing. I'm not jumping there. I'm not doing bungee jumping without the cord. You start bungee jumping, no cord, then you have all scrambled brains gone in an instant. So the point is that when you're doing this kind of healing, there's no loss. Your karma is going to be delivering whatever is going on, but there's no loss to you. If you have that understanding, you can never be a failure. You can never feel a failure. Okay, because you need to do that what is needed for you to be in that place to get the result. Enough. So that is very important also.
So the energy levels need to be a little more stronger.
Not energy levels. See, there are degrees of difficulty of the karma being healed. So you may want to use more methods. You may, because also you may find yourself changing. Like when you do the healing, your original position may change.
It's changed completely.
Yes. So then that healing is successful. Then there's nothing further as far as that aspect is concerned. If your position has changed, that is a big healing.
So if say I'm sending healing to a situation, and in my mind I might be wanting one thing from the situation. That's one thing. But then when the healing is going, and say after a few months, I do see a result to that situation. Now I might not be necessarily liking what is happening to the situation, but so does that mean that still that is correct irrespective
Of
of
course,
how I
because especially if you are finding out the reality of certain things, it is very very good. It's part of the healing. The problem is that if you resist acknowledging or accepting the reality of a situation, you've been living in ignorance or in hopefulness, then obviously seeing the reality is so much better because one is a theoretical possibility, the other is an established reality. So as long as there is hope, hope is actually very defeating because you keep carrying on in that hopeful state, hoping something will change, and it doesn't. So then your downside is much greater. So better to know what is the situation, and that is another thing that you must know what is the reality of the situation you are in or the issue that you want to heal. What does it mean for you? We have a very unreal idea as to how other people view us or how they value us or they don't value us. So we are thinking, no, we are highly valuable people. हमको पता नहीं हमारा sell by date भी निकल चुका है. Expiry date is there 4 years ago. And we are still taking the vitamin thinking it's going to give me a boost. It's not going to work. So if we are able to deliver some value, we are of some value. We may think we are very valuable, and actually we may not be that valuable. But if you understand what is your value, then you can leverage it, you can use it, whatever your value is, to get a mutual benefit relationship, which is the whole point. Relationships are of mutual benefit only. And in fact, they are positions of weakness because I need something from somebody. So if you understand that, you will be very humble. Humble means that you will be aware of your actual position which is not so great. You can't say I'm a healer, अब मैं बहुत बड़ा हो गया हूँ, अब now I will command you do this, दो थप्पड़ मिल जाएंगे तुमको, फिर क्या करोगे, है ना?
These 2 days, listening the discourses and everything, what I have understood, I want to objectively place it like this. The major goal of all these exercises is that you don't take repeat birth, and minor goal is that you carry out the present lifetime with least obstacles in whatever karma you are doing. So the major goal, my mind was wondering, like, if the major goal is not to take birth, and that is the sole objective, then what happens once you have finished the job, you are with the divine, like, then what happens there? At what level of consciousness you are existing?
I just told you that you will take a body according to the desire of the divine. The transformation of body, you could be grass, you could be fruit, you could be a bumblebee, you could be a flower, as the divine wants to associate with you, and also as you want to associate. So it's a reciprocal situation, and you will be fully conscious.
The same consciousness which is as of now will be there, or some kind of
Your individual consciousness of who you are and your connection with the divine at that point.
You've been listening to a discussion with Nalan Narula on www.gettingpositivekarmanow.com.